So I don't know why I'm filming this. So this is the emblem or the sticker or the sign that's everywhere all over Sydney, every shop. So see how they got the V emphasised? See how the V is emphasised? That's because that is the other. That's like, this is how I'm reading it anyway. You can make of it what you will, but it's the V is the other. Those that are running, controlling, and are everywhere around in this matrix earth. See, it says TO, that means like collaborative or cooperative or whatever you want, you know. In other words, it's a whole group, you see. That's the, I don't know if I'm making this clear because I'm a bit nervous here. But see, that's a collaborative V, which is like, some people say that's like the visitors. I saw that, and that makes sense because, you know, they are here. And they are more than the majority. They run the matrix and they control and basically live off human beings. See? C-O-V, collaborative V, cooperative V, whatever you want. And ID, that's the ID. I guess that means that's showing you what they are. Isn't ID like where that's your identification, you see? So that's what this is all about, I guess. This is part of the matrix control system, you see. I'm just going to hold the mobile if I can. It's a Sunday, so I picked a Sunday here to come up to the shop. I picked a Sunday to come up to the shop that I've been meaning to come up to for 4 years and about 9 or 10 months, because it was, you know, it was shortly after the matrix came down on me, about 2 months or something, or 3 months after I realised I was being watched and followed, etc., and that I was, you know, that there were negative and then negative frequencies being sent into the house and around, but mainly in the house at that point, even though I was also aware that they were operating in the great big park just down the end of my little street, because I mentioned this before, that, you know, I took the foil, you know, like just regular cooking foil, down there one night, because I could hear the frequencies bouncing off the foil in my house, you know, even though I could also hear frequencies when I touched my ears. You know, that was unnatural. It's like a technical vibration, which is like some sort of waves, almost like radio waves, but I don't understand these things, so don't hold me to what I say. I don't understand. I only know that it's not natural, you know, because I'm not scientific or academic, you know, but I've lost my train of thought here, I'm sorry, but I shouldn't be mentioning all this. It's only convoluting, but I'm just walking down here. See, the service station is opposite there, so see how it's opposite? It's a Sunday, so I picked a Sunday to come up here because it's quieter, because there should be a lot less traffic and a lot less of anything, you know. And it's total lockdown still in Sydney. And Leichhardt, I guess, the suburb of Sydney that I live in, or try to live in. I exist in it, just barely. You can't live in it, not the way you want to live, or even should be able to, because in a practical way, see that fella's just going to cross the road there like that in the middle of the thing. They do that all the time in front of me. This fella will probably cross in front. He was about to. He's tempted to cross right in front of me. See? Like what person crosses busy Parramatta Road right in front? But see, look, right in front, and that one crossed there too. That's just matrix-controlled technical beings in operation around a real human being. That's really the only way I can describe how I feel about it and what it is, you know, for me personally. But you can make of it what you will, you know. So, but either way, let's see. But that's the service station over there. That's you know, it's 4 Coles Express as you can see, but I always say 7-Eleven. See how it's got the V power written on all the signs? That probably won't come out. See the V again? Showing you. You see, that's synchronicity. That's a new sign over there, by the way. That's just been put on the you know, the liquor vintage cellars, where you buy the alcohol, you know. But anyway, I've come up here to this shop. It's a second-hand shop or a vintage shop, whatever you like. It's never open. It's been here for about it's been here pretty much from when I first saw it, which was like about 4 years and, you know, about 4 years and about 10 months ago, something like that. But you know, it has like bits of second hand or so-called vintage. They like to call, if they can make it, you know, they call it vintage clothes now, but it's simply used clothes, used items, used. Well, this is new in the front here, but I don't come here. I haven't been here for a couple of weeks, okay? And there was a period of about 9 or 10 months when I didn't come here and look at the shop. This is the shop where I hope I'm coming out. Maybe I shall just go here. Yeah. See, it's all junk now. It's all junk now because it was only used to be open for a day or two anyway. I hope I'm filming this well. But it's all junk in there now. They've even put a fridge in there, which is funny because they certainly don't sell fridges. It's mainly like just little bits of crockery and ornaments, little odds and ends, and you know, and used clothes, and maybe some old books or some pictures, maybe, you know, just that sort of stuff. But they put a fridge in there now because this is total lockdown, and they haven't been open for a long time. And even when they were open, they were only open for a day or two anyway. They were mostly closed. But this is the shop where they had the bird cage that I saw because I was coming past with the dog. I'm just going to stand out here if I can. I'll just keep it on the road, just straight in front of the lights, and there's coffee where I can get the coffee is just over there. So I only have to cross the road, but I'm just going to stand here and explain it, to anyone that isn't familiar with it. I have mentioned it to one other person only. But I won't ramble. They'll know who I'm talking about. It was about 4 years and 10 months or 9 months ago. I can't remember the exact date. A couple of months after the matrix started showing itself to me, because it started to close in on me, come down on me. It was, out to suppress my mind and my body. And I say we're spiritual beings, you're spirit, because obviously if you suppress someone's mind and their way of living and their body, and you control them by controlling the vehicles and creating negative frequencies at a sound level around everywhere you go, also, see, he's just diverting my attention, that fella. You can say what you like, but he's doing it in more ways than one too, in case anyone notices. But that's, but it doesn't matter. See, that's just to take me off my train of thought and my flow of conversation, so that I don't even so that I'm incomprehensible to anyone. And I don't know how loud that bus is or the traffic is, because I keep coming up here because it should be quiet and not as much traffic, because it's a Sunday. I think it's Sunday the 3rd or 4th, could be the 4th of October 2021, something like that. I can check after I finish the video, but at any rate, I must keep going. But either way, 4 years, when the Matrix started to control me and send negative sound and negative frequencies, because, it was fairly subtle at first. There shouldn't be many people up here, by the way, because there's no reason for them to be up here. But some people would say, well, there's a service station and the liquor place opposite. But it's all a staged fake reality. So that's just to make it look plausible, so that if I say it's a control matrix, I look out of touch with the reality. But the actual opposite is true. I am totally too much in touch with this technical controlled matrix reality, where everyone in most of those cars is an artificial, technical, android type being. They are not a real life human being that has positive points. The positive points are all staged and faked and copied and mimicked and acted out by these artificial beings, because they download human thought and human emotion so they can copy it in order to control the real life forms. And they are successfully doing that, and have been successfully doing it for a long, long time, I think. But when they expose themselves to an individual human being like me, in other words, just, one at a time, then you become conscious that this reality is a controlled system. And then you say, are human beings behind it? And you realise that the game is actually the opposite to that although they appear to be real human beings, they are a different life form. they are here to control real life human beings, to suppress them and to utilize everything that they think and feel so that they can control, other human beings and keep them and lure them in more into this technical, artificial matrix reality. It's not really a reality for a human being at all. It is not a reality at all, really. Not if a human being does not want to be part of a technically controlled artificial reality. But, for whatever reason, we are in it. But we're unaware that we're not in our natural world. That's another debate. What has happened to the natural world? Why aren't we in our natural world? Well, that's for another video and for me to think long and hard about. If you go on matrix type of stuff, there is the idea that the real, original natural world is long gone, and that we're in now an artificial matrix of our own mind in a way, because our thinking is being manipulated by the artificial beings. So they're playing with our mind, playing mind games with us, and using our mind to create the reality that they can live in, not that we can live in, and we're unaware of it until it comes at you full force like it has for myself. But either way, I'm really making this video just to show the birdcage that I'm mentioning. And this will not make sense to probably anyone except maybe one. It may not even make sense to one. But like I say, 4 years, and shortly after, a few months after the Matrix started patrolling and showing itself to me, because in order to suppress me at a much higher level, it had to also expose itself, and it didn't care because it knows that no one else can see it, because it's all done covertly. Which is interesting that the C-O-V ID, that's similar, isn't it, in a way? Think about that. That just occurred to me this very second. The covert and the code V ID. See, because this is all covert that's going on around me. I'm the only one that's conscious of it because it's directed at me. They want me to see that I'm surrounded. They want me to know that I'm being controlled. They want me to know that my thoughts are being manipulated by the Matrix and by everyone around, so that they look normal human beings and I'm pushed down. Because even if I was looking for another human being, even if I was looking for another human being, I'm surrounded by apparently real other human beings that may actually come across as more real and more human and more of a life force than myself, especially as I'm suppressed and agitated and annoyed at every level by the Matrix, you see. Because if you're at your lowest mental and physical and emotional level, because of the suppression of the Matrix on your body, on your mind, and on your emotions. So you're vibrating, and your frequency is so low that you're not giving off anything good. You're not coming across as a life force human being, even though you might be one of the few that's around in your area, you see. I don't know if that made any sense. But either way, when I was still in a state of extreme confusion and extremely, under a lot of pressure, like 4 years, it'll be 5 years at the end of the year. So it was like, I'm getting my times mixed up here, but it'll be exactly 5 years at the end of the year. There's not much they want to do to get in the videos or to hinder you. Like he's supposed to be waiting at the lights, but he has to come in front. See, now he's going to cross in front instead, like they do that. It's just anything to divert your attention so you go off track. Even a simple thing like talking to, like talking on top while you're filming a video, knowing that I'm probably not coming out very clear anyway. But either way, about, let's, say about 4 years and about, say, 8 months ago, okay, something like that. It doesn't matter the time. I don't know why I'm getting confused by the time or mentioning it even. But early on, when I was confused and did not have a clue that I was in a matrix, I just couldn't understand why apparently normal human beings, although I was aware of the psychopathic element, I knew that I had figured out just before the matrix come down, I've mentioned this before, that a large amount of the population, in fact the majority of the population at the time appeared to me that they were of the psychopathic nature. And that was very devastating for me to realise that. But it didn't overly worry me, because I thought I'd just be careful, because I thought, hey, even psychopaths, if I don't come into too close a contact with them and I play it pleasant with them, there's no reason that they should hassle me too much. That's how I saw it, but I thought I'll just be careful. I now am aware of this. But at that time, then when the matrix came down on me and I realised there were all these patrolling psychopathic people, around, and they had joined forces more or less, because I just thought, originally it would just be a majority population of individual psychopathic types, And I thought, now it looks as though they have joined forces to get their kicks by suppressing and bringing, me and probably any other real human beings that are around down. Because that way they look like the superior human beings, you see. Because I think their whole thing, even with those sort of people, is that they are frightened of people noticing a real human being and then coming to their aid or their support, like that. And so they have to appear to be more human and better in every way. And that's why they don't leave you alone, I think. Also, they are essentially controlling, but when they come down on you, it is because they don't want you to be noticed in any way, because they have to have the control. And, they're frightened that real humans might spot another real human and be a benefit to them somehow. Because they know that they are in control and have taken, the whole reality. but essentially the whole thing is to take the human mind, really, if you think about it. To think about it, they want to take over your mind because the reality is largely an artificial mind game reality if you really think about it. But it's played through the body, because we have allowed them to take over because human beings have been in the dark and, it's largely a controlled natural world, or we thought it was. In other words, you don't realise that it's your thinking that is being manipulated by this artificial matrix to make a reality. Because you don't think that you're thinking and your emotions as a human being are the only reason this reality kind of exists, because the technical beings can't control human beings or this artificial matrix unless they control the human mind, because the human mind can override technology, but we are being convinced that it's the other way around, that the human being is pathetical and that the human mind is inferior to the computer, if you want to look at it that way, because that's what they're doing. They're downloading everything from the human mind onto the internet or the computer, whatever, even at a real level. I see that every day. You think it, and it goes directly onto the computer. People call that information, but it's actually just being stolen from the human mind because they have the technology to do this. I don't understand how they do it. I only see that they do it because if you see your own thoughts in the blink of an eye being transferred onto the computer, right in front of you, and if you see it once or twice, you think, well, that's just coincidence. Someone else has got the same idea or you've picked it up from somewhere else. But when it happens 24/7, and instantly, and it's your own words even, you know that they're downloading your thinking. And they're doing that with human beings in order to trick the real human beings that the technology, the artificial intelligent type of technology, it already has taken, you're surrounded by it. All these cars, most of these cars are driven by by an artificial form of intelligence. We've all heard of it, we know what it is, we don't really, and even I don't, but, it is just, really, this kind of intelligence that everyone thinks is so good is just the human being's intelligence. So why would you need it? But people will be convinced because they will transfer so much information from human beings onto it. Human beings will become lazy and actually think that that is superior to them. But it is from them. So it's not superior, but it will take over. It's like giving your best to something that's inferior so that they can control you. That's how it works. That's what has happened, and that is what is happening, and that is what has happened. That's what is the reality now. That's why they target some human beings, to get more out of them and to control them so that no one will wake up to the reality that they will lose, that they will be surrounded by something that is against them. Because artificial technology, artificially intelligent type humans are working against you. They are survival machines. That's all they are. But they will use human emotion, human feelings, human thought to control other humans, to keep control of this matrix and to keep control of human beings. And, because you have to consent And they're making it so it's become very hard for human beings not to consent to the computer, to the technology, to the whole thing. It becomes a necessity. Even someone like myself, I'm using a mobile now to make a video to express just a tiny bit of what I really think. The rest goes to the computer, to the artificial matrix. You know, so I'm suppressed and I'm taken down, and I'll be knocked out of the game. You know, but either way, I better hurry here because I've got to go and get that coffee because my life is not my own fully. You know, even people will control your life. People that are part of the matrix. This is it, you know. People that are part of the matrix. To put a fridge in there because my fridge has been a bit funny lately. But either way, I'm just going to say, look, they've got a teapot in there too, see? Because I've been talking about teapots, you know, but it won't come out all that stuff. It won't come out all that. But either way, I'm just going to say, right? I'm just going to show you it in a second. Look, I haven't been here for a few weeks, okay? All I'm going to say is that when I was first aware of the matrix and very upset by what was going on around me and what they were personally levelling at me personally, I come past this very shop, okay? You know, about 4 years and 8 months ago, and I wondered what was going to happen to this reality, to the earth. I was only vaguely aware that it was a matrix at that time. I knew I was being controlled by most people around me. I thought that most of the population was psychopathic and they were joining forces to suppress me and other human beings. I didn't realise how much the technology and how artificial it was at that point. No, I didn't. And I didn't realise fully how much... I didn't realise that my mind was being manipulated so much. I didn't know that my thinking was being manipulated by those around. That's why they try to control you, so that the thinking is, so you can't think so much for yourself, you can't be at a high vibration, so all the thinking they can then just use, you know, because you can't stop them taking your thinking, or but you know, the idea is you should be trying to stop them controlling your emotions, you know, so that your frequency and vibration is not brought down to their level, you know, because that's the thing. You know, but that's the whole idea of them closing in and sending negative sound, negative energies, and to be closed in by a negative control system around you that you've become aware of. That's how it starts, usually just with a few cars following you at the start. And then they just gradually open it up to where they make it bigger and bigger and show you that it's the whole reality. They have to do that to condition you to it so that you're aware of it, you know. And also so that it's subtle. You know, because they don't want anyone else to notice there's something wrong. It has to only be where you're aware of it, but other people think that everything is reasonably normal. But either way, 4 years ago, heading up towards 5 at the end of the year, the matrix came down and opened up on me in a negative way, because it's a technical negative matrix, okay? But I walked past this shop a few months after this started happening, and I became and I was wondering what was going to happen to the world. I realised at that point that technology had taken over, but I still wasn't aware of how vast or how it worked, no. But, but you know, but, you know, but I walked past this shop where they had this bird cage in the window, this used knick-knack type shop that's never open. And I walked past one night, just after I'd got the coffee across the road there. Of course, as you can see, it's almost opposite at the end where that's a corner centre. Now, and it had a bird cage in the window for sale, and it is still here 4 years and 9 months or something later. So that shows you that's something funny in itself, isn't it? But I remember saying, because I knew I knew that bird cage was going to stay. I don't know why. But either way, I looked at the bird cage, and it was a little white bird cage, and the door was wide open on the bird cage. And I remember the door was wide open on the bird cage. I have to shout here because I think the traffic might be getting a bit loud. I'm not sure, but it sounds a bit funny. And I said to myself, because I was really worried that I was going to be taken over by technology and be turned into some sort of, be trapped here in a metal world, or in a world that is all about machine, about technology, nothing natural, and that I wouldn't be able to get out ever, because I became aware of that I didn't want to be in it. Of course, when you become aware that you are being just used and controlled by everyone and everything around you, and that technology is the means that they're using to read your mind, to see your thoughts, to see your feelings, to gauge how your mood is, how you're feeling, all to be used, not for you. And you also realise that where you thought you were just a little piece of sand, in a big natural world where you don't mean anything. That because your kind is largely not here now. And maybe it was never in vast numbers anyway. I don't know that. I suspect that we were never in huge numbers, but much bigger numbers than what we are now. Because this is the end now. This is the end of their matrix game against human beings, because they want total technological takeover of the human mind. So I sort of was aware of this when I looked at this bird cage and saw that the door was open, and I remember saying, wait till that bus goes. I remember saying at the time. I think the traffic might be overriding me, unfortunately. I could be wrong. I hope not. But I remember saying at the time, diabolical on the side of that bus. I mentioned that before, what diabolical. Look it up in the dictionary, what diabolical word means. Because this reality is a diabolical reality at its basis. Anti-life, controlled by a technological, anti-life, anti-human God, anti-spiritual human being God, because it has its technological copycat emulating the human spirituality in order to control through the religions and through belief, which human beings should have belief. But it's a false belief, because all the belief systems in this reality are controlled by the technological nature of God. And its many apparently real minions, but none of them are. Okay, so I mean, when I say none of them, I mean, of course there is a few humans amongst them, but we're outnumbered in a vast scale, as you can see. Even, see, the bikes are starting to come round too now, you notice. I've mentioned that before. But this is all natural. These are just healthy, normal, natural people that choose to ride their bikes on a polluted, busy Parramatta Road when they have so many places that they could ride those bikes in comfort and ease and in pleasant surroundings. But they choose to come up here, you know, in a spot like this to ride their bikes. But either way, I better hurry. When I came here for heading up towards 4 years and 8 months ago, let's say, and I saw the bird cage with the door wide open, this little white bird cage with the door wide open, I said to myself out loud, I said, the day that cage door is closed, it's all over. You know, big trouble. There's no hope for humanity or for myself or for human beings. And I'll tell you this door cage, I have not been here every day, obviously, even though just for a long time we didn't even go to this 7-Eleven over here. Sometimes it would be 9 months before I would check this bird cage up here, you know, if I just come up here. And the door was always open. Even though I was seeing Sydney, even in particular, being more restricted. You know, we had total lockdown even, you know, like started nearly 2 years ago now, the first one, but it's been pretty much not bad until now. We've had periods where it was closed, you know. But even then, what happened, oh wait on, I'll try to keep on track here. But essentially this cage and its door and the cage has remained here for all that time with the door wide open. And I was surprised. But when we had the first total lockdown, which I wasn't even greatly aware of, you know, like it's probably heading towards 2 years now, but I'm not sure of the date, but at least 1.5 years, maybe, you know, because I don't know when the first proper total lockdown occurred in Sydney, because most of the time we haven't had too much till now. But that's because it's the end of it now and they've accomplished what they want. But either way, I come past here when they had that first lockdown. And this window, all this window, I was so surprised and actually a bit distressed because all this window, you know, all this window was covered with brown cardboard paper and I couldn't see the bird cage. And I thought, oh, it's all over. That's right, the total lockdown and the bird cage all, you know, covered over. You couldn't see it. And it was like that for about a month, maybe 2 months. I just kept away from it. But then when I come back, probably might have been 6 months later, the paper was all removed and the bird cage was back in its position, still there, with the door wide open. 3 weeks ago I come past here, I come across the road and just had a little look, because I don't come all the time at all, even though it's only across the road, even though I come here most days to get the coffee. I came here about 3 weeks ago and the bird cage was still here with the door wide open. Now what I'm going to show you today, and I could be wrong here because I think that something has happened. I saw it yesterday And I filmed it yesterday, but I had the camera around the wrong way, so I couldn't put the video out because I forgot to turn the camera around the wrong way. I forgot to turn the camera around the right way. I'm shouting here. Sorry. But I had to shout because I'm not sure if I'm coming out. But I had the camera around the wrong way, so I had to delete the video, even though I spent probably a half an hour up here. But look, here is the bird cage. It is still here. They've moved it and put it inside this. But what I'm trying to show you... Oh. I can't... Oh, they're tricking me with this. This is very... See, the bird cage normally has the cage with the front there with the door wide open on the front where you can clearly see it. And they've even put it behind this wood thing here now. And they're trying to show me that they've closed the door to make me feel bad. But I'm trying to look here because this is the first time I've actually looked at it properly. Because I was a bit disturbed when I saw it yesterday, but I didn't look at it properly. But that door is still open. But it's only open by such a small amount. And there is that wooden thing at the back of it. So you can only squeeze out. So it's really intimidating because it was wide open. That's what I noticed, yes, even over that time. Sometimes it was open, like it was wide open, as if to say, it's still wide open for you. But now, it's not wide open. And they've also turned it round. They've turned the cage round to where the door is jammed up against this wooden thing that they've put in, this wooden display thing. So, but I think it is still open. See, I was actually thinking it was totally closed, but it is. It is still open, but it's like going to be a very tight squeeze to get out is what they're showing me. Because there's only like about a half an inch or a quarter of an inch. Because I thought it was actually closed. I was actually a bit distressed when I saw it yesterday because it looks closed. If you actually look at it there, it looks as though they've turned it round and the door is completely closed. You notice how next to it they've added here a black bird cage next to it there, which has been there for only a little while, but it has no door at all. That's because these ones all around here are in a black bird cage, and there is no door because they can't get out, they don't want to get out, they just want to keep us in. And I am closing off the video. But that is the bird cage, and it's been there now in this shop, which of course is closed now. But I think that this shop was only put here for me to look at anyway, because as you can see, there's a lot of second-hand shops around Leichhardt, and most of them are, this shop would not be able to do business. And also it's not in a good spot. But that bird cage, there's the bird cage. I can't get close enough to show it, but it used to be swinging, just like loose too, like up there, like those things. Like here, it's just swinging here. Anyway, there we go. If there's any fellas, this is just to remind me of how out of condition I am. I think she quite saw the humour in that. Actually, I don't find it humorous either. But then again, I'm just trying to make light of things, because if you are physically and mentally, like, it's one thing to be a certain age, but they do like to strut around and show how superior they are. And, it's not about superiority, it's really just about controlling, because if they are so superior, why do they feel the need to control an old lady that basically does very little in this reality? It just every day just goes, because I'm so restricted, I just go down and get the coffee once a day at the shop and then go back home. And can't even go into the supermarket to pick up my own groceries at the present time with lockdown in Sydney. But anyway, I've shown you the bird cage, and as you can see, I forgot to tell you, I just noticed it. What have they got inside the bird cage? They've put a great big feather inside the bird cage. Can you see it? It probably won't come out. That feather is interesting too, because when the Matrix first come down on me, they started leaving feathers all around the street, and I thought that it was like a bit of a comfort to see it, because I had no help. I felt very alone and very isolated and completely trapped. And I would just have my head down and be walking on the pavement, and I would see a feather, and it was like, I felt it was a sign that at least there was someone that was saying, keep going or something. I don't know, I can't really say it, but I'm not sure. But I know that I felt that the feather was like a bit of something a bit positive, even though of course it didn't help, and of course it was just a psychological thing. Well, here we have the pram pushers coming in front. But I'm going to fold up because I'm going to finish on those pram pushers. I'm not even going to wait till they cross the path, and I'm closing the video if I can.